Is typically your username and password. So we want them to change that immediately. You're welcome.
Blind spots happen. It's right there.
I got my because it's bigger letters.
I like it. I'm right there with you. Thank you.
We did. He didn't. He got it great. Yeah, he really tried to care about I didn't get a chance to go.
We swung out there for 15 minutes. Yeah, what? Full college lives in up there. And when the first let's help right here, 12, 15 day ones. Then when I was dropped all off that day, and all the kids were relatives.
I had no idea this go. When he said he wanted to do it, I was like, sure.
It was really cool. I used to do it when I was younger. It's just the judges are so great with the kids.
They need that.
It's just exciting. It's just excited to, you know, like when that judge all of those someone came out with which hasn't happened a whole lot.
Yeah, the Grayson loves chocolate tea. He tried to unlock the everybody else here, so.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome for our regular school board meeting for Monday, February 9th at 5:30. We're going to start public meeting order and start with our roll call.
Ray?
Here.
Hartman?
Here.
Crock? Here. Leathers?
Here.
McAllister? Here. Young? Zilke?
Here.
All right, please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll make that motion, letters.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Our first agenda item is a presentation by Austin Utilities in-built and retrofit with our speaker, Executive Director of Finance and Operations, Todd Leichenberg.
Good evening. Thank you, Chairperson Dubay, Dr. Page, and the rest of the board. We're in front of you tonight just to go through. There's going to be a couple companies coming up behind me. I'm just going to give a quick synopsis of this project, and then I'm going to turn it over to them. So in March of 2025, we presented to the board a lighting project, an LED lighting project, along with some fan work and some building envelope work. As part of that project, we contracted with Inbuild, Retrofit, and Austin Electric to do the work throughout our buildings. That work has now completed. As part of that project was the ability to earn rebates from this project due to the lighting. And so what I'm going to do today is turn this over to Inbuild to give a quick presentation and then let the other parties introduce themselves, and then we'll get to the presentation.
Hello, I'm Cody Capper with Inbuild. On behalf of Inbuild, the project team, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to partner with Austin Public Schools on this. It's a great project not only for the district, but also the taxpayers of the district. We got rid of a bunch of deferred maintenance throughout the lighting and electric that the district is facing. And in the meantime, also alleviated $177,000 of annual savings for the district, a rebate of $282,000 for the district. We had a great project team working with Retrofit Electric, Austin Electric, and Austin Utilities to really streamline this, bring it all together. Everyone was really focused on doing what was right for the district, and just wanted to say our appreciation for the opportunity to partner. But I'll pass it over to them and let them introduce themselves.
Hey, I'm Jake with Retrofit Electric. I just wanted to kind of reiterate how thankful we are to be part of this project. This one was important to me. I actually graduated from Austin High School about 25 years ago. So I grew up in the Austin district and graduated in 2001. And so I live in Owatonna now, but this was an important project for me to be a part of. And you know, as with all good projects, they all start with a good plan. So working with Inbuild, working with Austin Electric, Austin Utilities, also Todd, Joe, Brandon, the rest of the facilities team, just great to work with. We all had a good plan. We got it put together. We executed it. I mean, there wasn't, like any project, it's not always perfect, but I think for the most part, it went really well. So, but thank you again. Really appreciate the opportunity and really happy how the project turned out. So I'll bring up Austin Utilities here. The fun part.
Hi, I'm Melissa Swenson. I'm the Communications and Energy Services Manager at Austin Utilities. And just to kind of connect on what they said, what a great project, right? To be able to partner with a public utility here to give rebates to our public school district. So it was a great project to be a part of. We're grateful for the electric savings that come from this project. I also want to thank Ryan Emerson from Sempa, our wholesale provider. He was instrumental in getting rebates processed and taking care of some of the heavy load as far as the processing when the rebates came in. So great partnership, great project, and we're looking forward to hopefully having more projects with the school district in the future.
So we'll move now back to get this check. I think we're gonna go back behind the board here. Ryan, you ready?
Great. Come on up.
Stay away from you. I'll take this one.
Hey, how are you? All right, everybody get in.
I don't know.
Corey, can you grab the lights?
No. You might have more later. Oop, there, I go. We don't know.
That's fine.
I'm not sure.
I don't use lights.
Oh, there's someone got
I
it.
pushed the wrong button, it's my fault.
Oh, there, that one, okay.
2, 3.
Whatever it means to it.
2.
Yeah, thanks, yeah, appreciate it.
I know, right?
Taking my picture when they're done.
Oh, yeah. For the next one.
Is that gonna be like that for me?
It looks so good. You look great.
That was fun. Thank you to Austin Utilities, Inbuilt, and Retrofit for coming and sharing such great news with us tonight. Sure.
I wish they were still here, but, when we pass an initiative, we have no way of knowing exactly how it flourishes and the end product. And so that was really nice to see, all these entities coming together, utilities, Austin Public Schools. And the thing that really struck me and rang with me is the amount of money that we save the taxpayers. So that's really significant too. So thank you in absentia to everyone who was here.
All right, we have a couple of student presentations coming up next. We're going to start off with a Packer Pantry update with our CEO facilitator, Evan Helen, and a couple of students.
Superintendent Page, Chairperson Dubé, members of the board, thank you for having us here tonight. We're going to share a little bit about the Packer Pantry and how some of that is evolving. So I'm Emily Hovland, and I have with me Michael Gary and Michaela Dopojo, and they're going to be sharing some things as well. So to start off, we have had the Packer Pantry up and running for many, many years at Austin High School, and Melinda Huntley has done a great job of working with our community and continuing to help grow this. However, we have had some challenges over the last couple of years, and those, you can see those listed there, are lack of staffing, inventory inconsistency, and then just access for students. So we were noticing those things happen. Student council stepped in and was trying to do some support with the times before and after school to have it open and available for students to come to. However, you can imagine some of the challenges of, we have some very active students in student council, so being able to be at that shift and also be at sports practice and then probably in the other clubs that they're in, it was difficult and challenging, and sometimes that the staff wouldn't show up because we're relying on student staff there. So that limited some of the access, and we really wanted to look at how can we make this more sustainable, because each year I would be sitting there trying to gather volunteers and how are we gonna have this pantry open, and it was very cumbersome. So we looked at it as a time to kind of shift and see what we could do beyond just student council and student involvement, and that's where the idea of CEO 2.0 came in, and to do some different work with the Hometown Food Security Project last year. That's kind of where this idea came into play. So we were able to do some research with the Hometown Food Security group of a pantry that was active in Amarillo, Texas. It is for a school district there, and it doesn't just touch the high school, but the entire district. And there can be ordering for all the different schools, as well as a snack, they have called their snack shack, I think, and that is also an ordering process. That allowed for an online option for ordering, and when I heard that, it kind of sparked oh, this could be really kind of nice, because it would eliminate us needing to have workers and volunteers. It would eliminate some of that frustration for our volunteers when they would be there and maybe have to deal with behaviors which students managing other students' behavior is not great. And also, they would sort the shelves and everything, and then the pantry would open, and then they'd come to me after, look at the pantry, this stuff's all over. I spent hours So that was very appealing to have an online option, and it was a way for us to meet the student needs, but also hear student voice in it as well. So that is where this kind of grew from. You can see there the Packer Pantry top 10 list, is something that we share a lot throughout our community. And we get a lot of great support, but we also have other things in the works that I'm gonna have the students share a little bit more with you about as well.
Hi, I'm Michaela DePietro. I'm going to be just talking to you guys a little bit about the community support. So we have multiple drop-off locations. We do this at Hy-Vee, Superfresh, Gyms, Super Value, Sweet Meats, Austin High School. Another way that people can connect with us and donate is also through the Amazon list that we have for people who would rather just give it to us directly and order it and it comes straight to us, instead of having to go to the store, buy all of the things, and then drive all the way to Austin High School from work after you're already tired, give it to these kids, and go on your day. So we also do take financial donations. That is another way that you can give. It's very simple. You give those straight to Ms. Helen. She is the one who does all of our online ordering through Walmart or any other place. And then me or Allie or anyone else who is also the CEO here too, we grab it, we pack it, and that is there for all of the people who need it. Thank you.
So on the implementation side, we're just trying to work more on marketing this out to the community, because I think there's a lot of people who are passionate about giving back food to the community, but if you don't know about it, it's hard to get to. So we've been working on increasing social media presence, online ordering, and just getting it out there, doing more food drives, and I think with more hands on deck this year, that makes that a little easier. This year, we've also had the changes in students can now pick what they want through the online ordering system, which is a Microsoft form. They order each week, they can add little notes. We pack the bags, and then on Thursdays and Fridays, they come and pick them up. Do you guys have any questions about how that system works or how it looks?
Michael, are you taking advantage of Microsoft tools that you already have available to you, or did somebody create an app?
We're using the tools that are already given access to.
Perfect. Good.
Can I ask Michaela a question? You talked about donating and refurbishing the food pantry. I recall a couple months ago, the class of 1965 and 1960 made a significant donation to the food pantry. Can you walk us through from the time you got the check to the time you get the food on the shelf? How does that work?
Okay, I can only do the back end of this, and someone can talk you through what happens once we get the check. But once obviously the check clears and she does all of the ordering for the food that we get, it takes a lot of hands, and we have to get all of this food somehow into the building, find a ramp that we can move this cart around on. And then we have to take the time, we have to make sure that everything goes in the right place. It takes a lot of organizing to be able to do everything by expiration date, because one of the main things that are really important to us is making sure that they don't have just like 2 weeks to eat whatever it is that they decided to put on the order form. We want to give them time. As much as we know that they need the food, it's also like fundamentally, we want to be able to say, okay, we gave this to you, and whenever you need it, it's going to be there. We don't have to worry about, oh, the cereal's going to expire in 3 weeks. We need to eat it right now when we're only like a household of 3. But basically, what we do, we grab everything, we organize, and make sure that expiration dates are correct. And before we do that, I will let Ms. Helen cover.
For the pantry is the United Way, so all of our checks will be deposited through them when they come in. And then they send us like monthly statements of what our balance looks like for our accounts. They are who I work with then on that purchasing side that Michaela's talking about. So our students are able to come in, like last week, I know we're getting low on some things, and they came in and they're like, we need more pasta, we need cereal, we need chicken breast, we need, you know, it's like, here's the things. Men's 3-in-1 body wash, shampoo, conditioner, flies off the shelves, right? So they give us, they'll come and tell me this is what's low, we need refills on this. This year, with how we've changed things, we are able to have the pantry be more stocked regularly so that we're not as often saying like, oh, we don't have any of that, we can't put it in. So that has been, the way that the system has shifted, that has seemed to help with our inventory and looking at, okay, what's available, what do people need? Additionally, like Michaela mentioned in that form, or maybe Michael mentioned that in that form that they fill out, they're able to put down different information that's gonna be beneficial for them, like they can give suggestions of food that we do not currently have listed available, and then I can put in an order for it. So for example, spicy noodles is a big thing that kids are wanting, and I tell them, tell me exactly what you want me to order, because then I know, because I don't eat anything spicy. So tell me the names, give me the stuff, and kids have been great at doing that and getting their needs met, I think, in that way. We also have, I just pulled a couple pieces of feedback from them. We constantly are seeing things like this on the forums. Like, it's so easy just to stop and pick up my bag. It's like the Instacart version of the pantry. Thanks for your work, this really helps my family. Like, we know that this is making an impact, and it also eliminates that barrier of some students who maybe don't have time before after school to get to the pantry, or you know, maybe don't feel comfortable walking in there and seeing people, like having people in the shop. So there's a lot that's been coming into it, and a lot of kids continue to ask, like, how can I be involved and help? Which is pretty awesome. So these students have been working very, very hard, and we're excited that they, you know, we're interested in learning more about nonprofits and how to work through all of those pieces of it, and ultimately helping our student body and our families have their needs met in ways that might be challenging at times. Go ahead, Cece.
How many students, what does your data collection look like? And I know probably not too in-depth, or people might not want to come. I'm just like, how many kids are benefiting from that?
So I would say on like our busy or and kind of normally our average weeks, it might be up to 70 to 80 bags packed. But then there also might be weeks where we're at like 40. It just kind of depends. And sometimes kids will be like, I forgot to put in my order. If they show up and they forgot to put in their order, I'm not like, well, see you next week. Good luck with that. They take them down the pantry, we fill up a bag, and we send them on their way so that they have what they need. We are continuing, like they mentioned, trying to continue to push it out to more and more students. It goes through email and stuff to them, but and teachers will give student support in filling it out, but we're continuing just to try and make sure we're getting as far of a reach as we can. We also adapted our form earlier this year and put visuals on so that we think, you know, some of our students who may be newcomers and you know, they see the word beans and you can they might not know exactly what they're looking at. So one of our students, she speaks multiple languages, and she's like, you know, I'm on that one. I got this. We'll get that taken care of. So they're constantly thinking of the next thing, which is really, really powerful to watch in our youth.
Emily, I have one more question. I know for a while there were a lot of clothing. There's a lot of clothing involved as well.
Yeah.
I'm not hearing anything about clothing in today's presentation. Is clothing still very much a part of the pantry? Are we still? I saw the post about
shoes.
Gym shoes. You know, when prom season coming up, I'm thinking about that. Is the clothing still part of that?
Yes.
Or
so
not so much?
With all of the management of the pantry, and it was just getting so big, we have moved our clothing portion of the pantry, and that is now with Ms. Erstead, and our some of our special education students help to keep that organized and things, and that's been a super cool partnership with them. And then all like toiletries, you know, cleaning supplies, food, all of that is still located in the main area in the library.
Great. Looks like you're
I noticed in the, I think it was the Austin Spires minutes from their last meeting, a couple of the other pantries around town have had to adjust offer kind of more of a delivery just because of everything going on, families afraid to come.
Yes.
If you guys had requests for that or seen any need for it?
It's definitely on our radar. At this point, we have not had requests for that, but we're also kind of working with our success coaches. And if there's teachers who are hearing from students that, hey, we need this, but we maybe aren't in school right now. It's definitely something that we have right at the forefront, and I've got a little tribe of teachers who are like, we're ready to go and do the deliveries for you and help with that, because we want to make sure we're sending people to their homes that should be. These students never see the names of any student who has a pantry order. It's all based on numbers, so there's no identity revealed and those sorts of things. But it's definitely something that we are ready to do as needed.
Thank you for all your work with this. I love this online option. That is phenomenal. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this work. All of you.
Thank you for that.
6 kids who decided to stick around and do this for this year. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Don't go too far.
I gotta put this guy.
Our next agenda item is an invitation from the Lower County CEO.
Thank you for having us here today. My name is Lucy Annis.
And my name is Gracie Greenman. We are a part of the current Moore County CEO class. We are super excited to share some details of our upcoming class event, the Ultimate CEO Showdown. This event features 5 interactive games that are inspired by your favorite TV game shows.
This will be taking place on Saturday, February 28th at the newly renovated Paramount Theater. Doors open at 6:30 and the game will start at 7. This event is for ages 10 and up, and get ready for 2.5 hours of game show fun.
We are super excited to bring this unique experience to Austin, and you can get your tickets on the Paramount website, so make sure you get those tickets today. Any questions?
Can you tell us what our 5 favorite game shows are?
They may not be able to say those words.
Yeah.
I think
Think of the one where you like have to guess how much something costs at a store. You know that one? Or maybe one where you have to stand across from someone and there's something by you.
Nice.
And maybe one
There's something
where you
have to
spin
figure
a
out
wheel.
what most people think is the most popular thing.
Yeah, that one.
What's the most popular thing to eat
like
for breakfast?
Yes, that game.
That kind of game.
We're not gonna jump between those things like they do in that one show, do we?
What? You think you watch different shows then?
Like Ultimate Ninja Warrior?
Oh, yeah. There will not be that. There might be like 60-second challenges.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
You will be happy to know that we committed as a board this evening to show up. And we're hoping that we can be a team at some point where we'll do whatever it takes to win big.
Yeah. All the proceeds go to us and the schools.
Yeah, so we're working right now to get that team thing happening for you guys. We'd love to see you there and playing the games, yes.
I got my tickets already. It's up to you guys. Bring it on. We got
Thank you
this.
so much. I'm looking forward to it as we all are.
Yes. Thank you. We appreciate you coming to share that. It's gonna be a fun night. All right. Our next agenda item is our superintendent's report with Superintendent Joe Beach.
Thank you, Chair Dubay, and members of the board. I want to begin with gratitude tonight and just some strong news from across our district. First, I want to thank Sumner Elementary for their invitation last week as a mystery reader. We had another one today and some more this week, so thank you for that invitation. Really appreciate it, and it's nice to be back in my former elementary school. Also, just to say thank you and congratulations to Nevlin on their music performance We were able to attend, some of us were present for that too. They really did a nice job, worked very hard. We really appreciate all of them. Next week, we recognize our school bus drivers. It's School Bus Driver Appreciation Day on Wednesday, February 18th. And across the state, drivers transport our students for Austin, it's almost 3,800 miles a day that they're on routes. And so we're so thankful for our bus drivers to get our students to and from school each and every day. I also just, we had a presentation early, and I just want to say thank you and congratulate the board on a great example of responsible stewardship for the taxpayers' dollars. This district-wide LED lighting project that you heard about is going to deliver savings and reducing energy and lowering our utility costs. And that is really smart planning that benefits our students, our staff, and our taxpayers. So thank you for that. On the activity side, I just want to say congratulations. All of our winter sports are progressing, but to the Austin Packer dance team. They won the Big Nine champions, but even I think more exciting is that they are back at state for both kick and jazz. And it's a major accomplishment, and it reflects so much of their hard work, their discipline, teamwork. From the student athletes to the coaches, we're very proud of how they continue to represent Austin. I also want to just highlight too an article that was in a paper a few weeks ago about Coach Denny Bray and his return to Austin girls hockey. And stepping back in the role in 2024, the program has shown some real clear improvement. They had a section win here last week. Their record is improving, and they're challenging each other through a rebuilding period. So if you haven't had a chance yet, please check out the article in the Austin Daily Herald. Does a really great job of showing the growing interest of girls hockey at younger levels, which is, I think, a really strong indicator of the future. So thanks to Coach Bray for his leadership and commitment to our student athletes. Everything we do is focused on supporting students, whether that's in the classroom, on the stage, or in the cafeteria. And so it's great to see this recognition of our programs. Last week was National School Counselor Week. I just want to recognize our counselors across the district. They support students through challenges, help them plan for future, and advocate for their needs every day. Their work isn't always visible, but it has a lasting impact. I just encourage everyone to take a moment this week to thank their school counselors. We also want to congratulate Crystal Lenny. She was named as the KEL Excellent Educator. This recognition reflects the dedication and care that she brings to her students every day. I also want to thank Todd Lichtenberg and his team. They've been working really hard across the district. One of those is just the recent formal stockholders meeting. A lot of planning and preparation for that event. Really is a signal of our strong partnerships with our local business community and continued support opportunities for our students and staff. And in addition to that work, as you know, over the last few weeks, we've had some attention in our buildings with some of the mechanical issues. And Todd and his team have done a really good job with that, so I just want to thank you so much for that. I'm really proud to share also that Southgate Elementary was recognized as the 25-26 Minnesota School of Excellence with a few other elementary schools around the state. This honor reflects years of thoughtful work by the staff, strong leadership from Principal Derek Gustafson, and really meaningful partnerships with our families and caregivers. So Southgate's focus on relationships, equity, and student support is clear, and its recognition was well earned. So congratulations to them. February is also Career and Technical Education Month. So across our district, CTE programs give students hands-on learning and industry-recognized credentials and real connections to local employers. So just as important, they build skills connected to our Packer profile, critical thinking, collaboration, communication, and problem solving. It's a real-world learning opportunity that our students get to have here, and we have a great program for them. I also want to highlight Project Graduation for 2026. This is built from parents and community members. They're involved. There's going to be an informational meeting on February 25th at Austin Public Library at 5:15. This has been a tradition here since 1989 and provides a really fun, safe opportunity for our seniors at Austin High School, at AOA, ALC, and Pacelli. So volunteers are always needed, and you don't have to have a senior to help. So if you're interested, February 25th is the first planning meeting at the Austin Public School Library, or Austin Public Library. And then finally, draw attention to this. The district has been notified that the secretarial union has filed a strike notice. And this does not mean that a strike is occurring at this time, but under Minnesota law, filing a strike notice is a required procedural step in the bargaining process, and it initiates a 10-day cooling off period before any strike may occur. During this period, the district operations will continue as normal. The district remains actively engaged in bargaining and working closely with the Bureau of Mediation Services to reach a negotiated settlement. The district is committed to providing fair and competitive wages for all of its employees, while also meeting the responsibilities to manage public resources prudently and sustainably. Maintaining long-term financial stability is essential to ensuring consistent services and support for our students, our staff, and our families. At this time, there's no changes to our school operations that are planned, and if the district is reviewing its contingency plans currently to ensure that the continuity of learning services, should they become necessary, aren't interrupted. The school board will be kept informed of any developments in accordance with this governance rules. Overall, though, I am really proud of the momentum that we're seeing in the Austin Public Schools. We have strong programs, engaged students, dedicated staff, and a community that continues to show up for our schools. That's my report.
Dr. Page, you said something early in your report about you were Fendi for summer school. I always thought you were a Banfield Beagle.
No, I was Sumner Razorback.
You were.
Sumner Razorback. Why not that? I'm not sure what happened, but yes.
No. You were never a Banfield guy.
No.
Banfield was the Bombers and the Bobcats.
Yes.
I stand corrected.
I'm a Banfield grad. I was there.
We were in Banfield all the days.
You're back.
I'm glad you got it. Right.
All right, anybody else have questions? Okay. Next I'm going to invite Don to speak on behalf of the board with a welcoming statement.
In recent weeks, events have unfolded in Austin and across Minnesota that are highly concerning. These occurrences have had a negative effect on students and staff at Austin Public Schools and on members of our remarkable community, which we are privileged to serve. The Austin School Board thus finds it imperative to issue a statement in support of all affected groups, to advocate for their physical and emotional well-being, as well as their personal safety and security in these uncertain times. What follows is a welcoming statement unanimously approved by the Austin School Board. It has long been a tradition at Austin Public Schools to be a welcoming, safe, and accepting place for students, staff, and the families we serve. Students and staff are recognized and celebrated for who they are, given a voice in their personal development, and encouraged to explore avenues that foster academic growth, mental well-being, and self-realization. We hold that everyone who passes through our doors has both value and dignity. To believe anything less is unacceptable. Recently, some of those cherished ideals have been literally turned upside down. The safe haven of schools, work, and home have become, for many, places of tension and at times dread. A sense of unease prevails. Increasing numbers of our students have decided not to attend school. Workers remain sequestered at home, forfeiting crucial paychecks. And many people find it impossible to engage in the routines of everyday life. Feelings of anxiety and fear have spread among various groups in Austin's community. We as a school board are deeply concerned and saddened by this turn of events. To those of you who may be frightened or feel threatened, each member of the Austin School Board wants to make it clear to you that we genuinely share your pain. Further, we recognize your humanity and pledge to do everything in our power to give you the assistance, the assurance that we stand together in this difficult, often chaotic time. We make a promise to you to remain vigilant in promoting your well-being. Both the community of Austin and its public schools have historically been safe and welcoming environments. It is our intention that they remain as such. Rest assured that we take our role in protecting your safety and security with the utmost seriousness. Together, we are stronger. Sincerely, members of the Austin School Board.
Thank you, Don. Are there any board reports? Carol?
I just wanted to report a little bit on the Apex Austin meeting, which was last Wednesday. I'm always amazed going to this meeting because I hear presentations about amazing programs that benefit our community. So one of the presentations was Wellness on Wheels, which provides free preventative health screenings. Then there was a presentation by the Parenting Resource Center programs, update on community response to the ICE activity. And this is what I really wanted to highlight. Carla Miller, she is with NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and she shared a resource called BetterHelp that provides 3 months of free online therapy for families in Minnesota. So the directions are go to www.betterhelp.com/voucher. Type in Minneapolis-support. There's a questionnaire that you answer, and then you're matched with a therapist within 48 hours. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I just wanted to highlight an event that we talked about as a school board doing. We ended up not had a lot of outside commitments, but I just wanted to thank everybody associated in the district for their participation in the plunge this last week, and the Austin schools were very well represented. There were people from the student council, our kids from the student council, Southgate staff, Dr. Gustafson, I think I saw him jump into the water at one point, kindergarten staff, the entire boys basketball team jumped, and it was just really inspiring to see all the members of our public schools that were participating in that. I'm really hoping to see that grow even further next year. I also wanted to just really highlight this last weekend, they also had the solo ensemble contest for our middle schoolers. We had a chance, my wife and I, to go out, see our son play, and then a couple other kids play. And it was just a great experience. Kids were walking around, it was just an electric atmosphere. Kids were excited, and it's great to see our music programs thriving in our schools.
Anybody else? Okay. Our next agenda item is our student representative reports with Michael Gary and Lydia Mazzara. It's like Lydia is going to go first today.
Superintendent Page, Chairperson Dubé, and members of the board. I'll be presenting the first half of the report. Recently, the Havana Quartet performed in this room, giving music students the opportunity to to experience a taste of Cuban music and culture. The performance allowed students not only to connect with international music, but also broaden their experiences and see how real professionals play and how much passion they have. And watching that performance, I can say that I was definitely impacted by their work. In our community, there was recently a Vex Robotics tournament, which brought together students from all over southern Minnesota. Even for those who don't know much about robotics like myself, I was still impressed to see how passionate and dedicated students were at such a young age. Planning for Culture Week is officially underway, with student groups meeting and collaborating to prepare for what's expected to be a busy and eventful week. As a student in that planning process, it takes a lot of hard work and a lot of early meetings, after school meetings with Mr. Schmidt, meetings with the admin. It's pretty hard work, but I'm excited to see what we pull off this year. In recognition of Black History Month, the African Student Association is working to educate the school and the community by creating posters and posting informational videos highlighting Black history and contributions. So stay tuned for these upcoming projects on our social media and around our school. In addition, the speech team traveled to Casa Matterville this Saturday, which they actually earned first place in the small schools division at their second competition of the whole season. This achievement reflects a strong preparation, and also like to give time to thank Ms. Kendra Ward and Mr. Dan Hansen for their endless work, staying after school, before school mornings, working, putting in hard time working, and working with students like me, and being able to empower people and give students a voice. Finally, I would also like to congratulate the dance team on their recent successes, earning first place in kick and second place in jazz. Their performances demonstrated a huge dedication of hard work, and the amount of work they put into their sport is just admirable. They not only put in 6 a.m. practices, they also have to do schoolwork, they have to do AP classes, and I see how much and how hard these athletes put to their work. That concludes my report. Any questions? How did you do? I did pretty good. I did.
Pretty good. Come on. Tell us, you got first?
Yeah.
What was the category?
So I did 2 categories. So in my first one, I got first in impromptu, which is like basically they give you a prompt and you have like 2 minutes to create a speech about it. So, and then in my second event, I got second place, which was pretty nice, and it was in dramatic interpretation.
Wow. Congratulations. We're looking forward to hearing more.
Somebody give her a subject, but.
What's the title of your dramatic presentation?
It's called The Kink in My Hair. It's about it's about gun violence, so it's a pretty emotional piece, but it's just been pretty nice to see the feedback I get from the judges and stuff.
So you practice that and you do that at multiple events, right?
Yeah.
Impromptu, or just whatever comes up for a topic at that particular event.
Yeah.
Good. Good for you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Michael, you're up.
Superintendent Page, Chairperson Dubay, and members of the school board, I will be presenting the second half of the student report. In elementary school news, Southgate Elementary was nominated as the 25-26 Minnesota School of Excellence. This recognition is presented by the Minnesota Elementary School Principal Association and celebrates schools that demonstrate high achievement, strong leadership, and commitment to student success. We congratulate Southgate staff and students on this outstanding accomplishment. Congratulations, Mr. Gustafson. As I never went to Southgate, I have used Gus Bus services before. So thank you for that. February is also I Love to Read Month, and first graders at Sumner Elementary are celebrating by welcoming mystery readers into their classroom. One special guest reader was Austin Public Schools Superintendent Dr. Joey Page, who shared a story, Pete the Cat School Shoes. Activity like this helps promote a love of reading and make literacy fun and engaging for students. And I know firsthand from my mom, being a reading teacher at the elementary level, hearing how much it means to the kids and the teachers when people come in to read and make students passionate about reading. Turning to athletics, 2 Packer wrestlers competed at the state tournament in the 9th and under grade division, Earning a spot at the state tournament is a major achievement and reflects the dedication and hard work of these athletes. Even though it is the 9th and under, this shows great strength in the youth in our program, and I'm excited to see what these athletes can do to come. These two wrestlers were Jackson Lerm and Jaden Shakita. Additionally, the girls hockey team had a strong postseason start, winning the first round in sections. This shows the progress they have made and how far the team has come. Finally, Austin Public Schools recently took part in the Paint the Town Pink in a community-wide event supporting breast cancer awareness. Students and staff showed their support by wearing pink and helping spread awareness throughout the community, demonstrating once again how Austin Public Schools gives back and stands together. Thank you to Student Council and all the businesses that work together to donate and put these events on. This concludes the second half of the student report. Any questions?
Doesn't look like it.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Can I get a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda? Motion by Cece.
Second.
Well, I'm gonna go with Carol. She was just sitting here ahead of you. Second by Carol. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. We have another exciting student-led presentation coming up next with our Minnesota Youth Institute and Global Youth Institute recap with our AP Human Geography teacher, Lisa Sanders, and a couple of her students.
How's it going? Oh, that's me. It's not that one.
All right. Well, thank you so much for welcoming us in here tonight, Dr. Page and Chairperson Dwight and all of our school board members. I'm Lisa Sanders and I teach AP Human Geography at Austin High School and Human Geography, and we are looking at, so we're here to talk about the Global Youth Institute, which is actually part of an extension of the Minnesota Youth Institute. And I know I came and we spoke last year about this program, and so we're back this year because we had 2 students who had the opportunity to attend the Minnesota Youth Institute. So I just want to give you kind of some highlights on the program. And as we look at this program, the Global Youth Institute, it fits into our school's strategic plan with our mission of preparing all learners to make a difference in the world, because it is about creating a challenge paper on a research topic about food insecurity in the world. And then it also talks about all of our core values. So it goes with all of those, all the core values in our mission statement for the district. And so it provides them with questions to answer and solve, and I work with the students on those because they have a voice and they are our future leaders. This program. Program itself. So the program started with the Minnesota Youth Institute, which Dr. Baskin introduced us to about 3 years ago. We had the opportunity to go to the Minnesota Youth Institute and see this program in action. And out of that, we found it was a good fit for our Human Geography course. And now it is part of not only AP Human Geography, but also Human Geography and our Investigating World Problems course. So we had a course called Current World Events or Current Events and at Issue, and then that has changed over time to become this course. of Investigating World Problems, which is looking at food security problems around the world where students are going to research that. At the Minnesota Youth Institute, the students were able to research their country, write a paper about their country, a challenge paper is what they are referred to, about food insecurity in their country, about any different projects or any different issues that go with that. And then they become a Borlaug Scholar and then have the opportunity to go to the Global Youth Institute in Des Moines, Iowa, which takes place in October of each year. So in May, we took students to the University of Minnesota St. Paul campus, and from there, Ian and Aiden were selected to go to the World Food Prize Institute at the Global Youth Institute at the World Food Prize Foundation. Their topic last year was solutions for security, and so it took place at the end of October, and the students were some of the delegates from the state of Minnesota, and they worked with delegates from all over the United States and all over the world. They got to hear about the speakers from the Borlaug Dialogues, and also go to the World Food Prize Award ceremony with the laureates, who are recognized every year for some activity or some contributions they made in the world of food security. And so this year, so they're looking at
No, it hiccuped. There.
There we go. So this is a picture of them at the laureate ceremony, which is, or the laureate ceremony, which are the, there was one person selected this year for her contributions to the food security in the world. So this year's laureate was Dr. Hungaria for her research in terms of how to come up with low cost and sustainable approaches to food security, and hopefully you two will talk about that maybe a little bit more. And she works in Sao Paulo in Brazil on that topic.
It's not your computer, it's
Oh.
the remote you need to use.
Oh, okay.
Yours isn't connected.
All right, and so there's a lot of different highlights from their experiences. They present their papers there as well as at the Minnesota Youth Institute. And so Aiden and Ian went to the Youth Institute, or the Global Youth Institute, and they're going to speak. And if I can get this to go back, Ian is going to go first. There we go. All right.
Hello, my name is Ian Johnson. So the country that I picked for my project was Norway. So Norway is in a very advanced country to where they don't have very much food insecurity. It's more so the people who experience food insecurity there are people who have kids, and which is an odd thing. You would think that if you have kids, you'd be financially stable compared to someone who might not. But more families suffer from food insecurity when they have a kid. So that was one thing that I researched, and another issue is that they rely heavily on food imports. So like a COVID situation definitely would have hit them significantly, which can hurt their people because 60% of their food comes in via ships and planes. So that leads to a lot of relying on other countries to bring in their food. So that was what my paper was on. The solution that I found that kind of best fit them would be, they're massive on fish farming. So my solution was to use fish waste. So that would be the waste that they actually produce, and also like fish guts, trimmings, anything that when you're kind of cutting a fish up that you would maybe throw away, creating that and using that as like a compost to help fertilize the soil, to help increase their food production. So my experience at the Global Youth Institute, like Sandra was talking about, was an extremely eye-opening thing to where you got to meet people from multiple countries. There's a lot of countries represented, a lot of states represented. So you kind of got to see kind of different norms of people to where you got to kind of hear how they talked. A lot of people talk in a different way that we might not be used to. Some people had a little bit more of an accent. Some people sounded exactly as us. So it's very interesting to kind of meet and talk to so many people, and I met so many amazing people that I would not have otherwise met. This was something that they really pushed. They really wanted us to go out and meet people that you probably wouldn't have met. So the first day we had a pin trading event to where we each kind of brought pins that kind of represented our state. I brought spam pins, and those were a big hit. A lot of people liked those. So I didn't run into anyone from Hawaii, but I bet that they would have probably they might have fought me for those. But yeah, that was a very fun activity for me to kind of be in, and kind of it was a nice icebreaker. So that was the first night, and then you kind of got to know some people, so you were able to talk to people a little bit more easily when you kind of talked to them before. So that was nice. But then we went through the next day and we learned a bunch of stuff. We had speakers that would come in. I'm going to let Aiden talk more about the speakers, but we had a lot of speakers who came and talked to us, and that was an amazing opportunity for us to kind of hear different perspectives on things and learn more about like what's actually happening to where you might have not learned that stuff. So, but then we also had the opportunity to go to a visit. So we got to go to a biotech place, a farm, and some other like experiences. I went to the biotech, and we got to tour a lab, which was really interesting. And it was a lab that was actually open, and they were actually doing stuff in it. So you weren't just at some like pre-stage place that kind of showed you. It was a real live lab, and you got to kind of see where products are. Like that was where like Liquid IV, they have stuff in there for that. So you kind of got to actually see stuff that is going into products that you actually might use. Yeah, that was my experience, and it was an extremely positive experience, and I'm really happy that I was given the opportunity by Mrs. Sanders to write the paper and challenge myself in a new way that I wouldn't have otherwise gotten to do.
Hi, I'm Aiden Sihan. I did my paper on Iceland and how they had issues with storing food. A lot of people think, oh, it's an island in the middle of the ocean, they can't grow food. Well, they figured out how, so that made my whole research a little more difficult. But I realized that the big issue with them only recently being able to have the greenhouse technology is that they don't really know how to store it very well. And I found a lot of companies that were based out of Iceland who are really good with making sure that everything's environmentally sustainable within storing food. So I found like the perfect place to put it, the perfect like companies to manage it and make sure everything's okay, like for the environment, make sure there's no negative impact. My experience with the Global Youth Institute was very good. I was kind of worried going in because I haven't really had much experience with networking, but the way they set it up, it was really cool to be able to meet people from all over. We were split into really cool groups with people who you've never met before from all over the globe. I had one person from Mississippi, one person from North Carolina, and someone from China. So we got some very different experiences, and I was able to learn a whole lot about all sorts of different cultures. We also got to hear a lot of speakers. Like the first day was pretty much only speeches, and like right when we got there. But that was really cool because we got to learn about the ways that different people go about helping people who are experiencing food insecurity. We got spoke to by a professional chef who runs a, I think it's called the World Central Kitchen, where he goes around and he helps people who are like in war. And I think recently they were down south when all the snowstorms hit. We got to hear from a former agriculture secretary of the United States. He talked about food deserts and stuff like that and how to overcome those and how to bring food to more people. We also heard from last year's laureate who talked to us about how they would go through and they would take like landmines out of areas that still had a whole bunch of them and would replace them with farmland. And he wasn't here for this at the end, but I was able to go to the actual like laureate ceremony where she was able, where the laureate from this year the one who had all this stuff about like nitrogen soil. I was able to see her get the prize, and that was a really interesting experience. So we were the first group of students who were able to see it. And it was it's not an experience that you can ever get again unless you travel all the way down there and pay a bunch of money and whatever. But it was really cool to be able to see all that and learn about all the different ways that food insecurity is hopefully going to get solved. Maybe not fully solved, but will hopefully get better through the whole world. Thank you.
Thank you. Guys,
Do you have any questions for us? Or for
Ian and Ian, how would you encourage next year's class to get involved in this?
So I would say that this was something to where it's a nice challenge to where Sanders had it really easily set up for us to where it wasn't like we weren't getting thrown into the deep end. We were kind of gently pushed in a nice way to where you had a lot of stuff, but it was manageable. It was something to where you definitely were struggling a little bit, but it was a controlled struggle. So it was something where I'd say just go for it and you won't regret it. You'll get the opportunities that you might not have otherwise gotten if you didn't do it. It's something where you really can't fail at it. You just kind of need to jump in and not be worried because you'll be fine.
And when it says, oh, it's all about food insecurity, your paper does not have to be straight up about food. That's something that I found out with all my research. If you read my paper, it really doesn't have anything to do with food. But a lot of things like make it able to get food. Like farming's kind of a little different, but because mine's all about like green energy and environmental sustainability. That may not sound like it has anything to do with food, but you can find things that you enjoy learning about and you enjoy talking about and related to food insecurity. Any more questions?
Yeah, has this experience helped you think differently about what you might want to do as you move on in life?
Actually, yeah. So I've always been very like science-oriented person, and on that biotech lab thing, I went with him. I was actually able to sit down and talk with one of the biochemists there, and I was able to learn about like different types of chemistry and how it's not actually just a bunch of math like I was worried about. But like we were able to learn about all sorts of different jobs that relate to food insecurity that aren't exactly just working in the food industry, which was really interesting.
It was something to where when I was going into it, I have really zero interest in pursuing a career in agriculture to where that's not really what I want to focus on in life, but it was something to where I was actually interested in it, and it was something that like I wasn't like sitting there like, oh, why am I here? I was extremely interested and I was able to learn quite a few things from that I wouldn't have learned to where you kind of learned that agriculture is not just something that you need to be in agriculture to experience. It's something that you experience in your everyday life to where you learn more about why food prices might be higher and why certain foods aren't always in the supermarket. You learn more stuff to where you learn about the supply chain and general stuff that kind of explains more like what you experience, why you experience like food stuff.
Why did you guys choose the countries that you chose? Norway and Iceland? Personal connection? Were you guys gently pushed towards it? What made you choose those countries?
So we got we had put in 5 or 3. So we had to pick 3 countries that we could potentially research, and it was kind of a thing where you listed them 1, 2, 3. So I picked Norway because that's actually where I have some heritage from. So I was like, okay, Norway sounds like a fun thing to do. And I was at a Norwegian museum, I believe down in Iowa also. So I kind of was like, okay, I kind of actually know a little bit about Norway and kind of history there. And I was like, I'll take a look at it. I did not realize how much food security they truly had. I kind of was shocked when I realized how developed they are, because you kind of focus more on America and stuff. I don't always look at the news that's going on in other countries, and this really showed me what all is going on in the world a little bit more, and it kind of opened my perspective up to kind of looking at what's going on in other countries and how other countries actually affect America more. So that was why I picked Norway.
I have a much less cool reason. I was like, oh, Iceland might be kind of interesting. It's kind of an island. No one really talks about it a lot. And I also like music, and there's a lot of music out of there and the other countries that I picked. And then I kind of wish I had more research more into the food insecurity side beforehand, because I found my solution after a lot of other people did, because Iceland is so developed that they fixed all of the issues that they really had for a while. But it did give me a really good challenge, and that's kind of what I was looking for with picking Iceland, because I always liked geography, and I was like, oh, it's cool, it's an island, it will be something different, which I ended up getting a very different solution that I didn't see anyone pick, which was nice.
Very cool. Anybody else have questions? Thank you both for coming and sharing your stories and sharing about your research, and thank you, Mrs. Sanders, for bringing them.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is our task force updates. We're going to start with our substitutes task force with Speaker Jared Gustafson and Amanda Lee. School of Excellence Award recipient.
I can't run a computer.
Gus Bus. You can run a computer, you can't keep up with this technology. It's not you, it's us.
Just gonna install a couple programs right now.
Let's see.
There you go.
Make sure the microphone's on too.
Superintendent Krenz, Chairperson Lee, and members of the board. I am here today with Jill Rowley and Amanda Lee, and we are talking about our work so far on the substitute task force, and just wanted to provide an update as we hit close to the end of the year and some possible recommendations for the school board. So just going back to some of our work and why it matters. This is an identified issue and has been going on for many years about daily rates of being able to cover subs and open positions in our district, and the impact that it has on our staff in terms of morale and instructional minutes, but also with our students. And so we wanted to tackle this issue as a team with a diverse group of people that could come to the table and talk about what the issues were, what we can control and not control, and then what we can maybe do about that and make some recommendations to the board. The other reason why it matters is that this aligns very closely with our district strategic priorities and providing safe and supportive and consistent learning environments for our students each and every day. So when we started the task force, one of the big things that we wanted to do was kind of suss out from the people that had volunteered to be in that group about what the major issues were in terms of subbing at Austin Public Schools. And so we spent several sessions going through and finding out what those were and trying to kind of bundle those into big ticket items that we could then really dig into a little bit deeper. So after going through that process, we came up with 3 top priorities that we wanted the focus of our substitute task force group to be. And the first is that we were having our EL and intervention staff were being pulled from their normal teaching positions to to sub for classroom positions that were left open. And by far, that was the highest priority when we looked at what was important to the members of that task force. Two other issues that were very clearly pulled out of that work was that we had a limited sub pool and that buildings were frequently undercovered. So every day there were positions in each building that were just difficult to fill, and then we had to come up with creative solutions kind of on the fly to make that happen. And then the third priority that we wanted to tackle was that substitute teachers who were part of the task force communicated that there were times where they either felt undervalued or that they were not prepared to substitute when they showed up in a school to work. And so that started our work after identifying clearly what those priorities were.
All right, so that kind of gets us up to speed to now. So with those three priorities, we essentially put the task force to work. We gave them some homework. And they went out to seek information, whether it be literature, whether it be colleagues in other districts, resources, to see what we could find and gather that could potentially be strategies to help us improve these areas. So in area of concern number one, which is really surrounding our internal coverage, the strategy is obviously to reduce colleague coverage occurrence. And so some of the strategies that we're continuing to explore are expanding internal subpool, increasing external subpool, and analyzing the colleague coverage rotation, and the strategy of having building subs.
All right, so on the bottom, we have some questions that we're going to do, like our next steps. So how can Kelly Services improve this area of concern? They can find more subs, increase the sub pool, and offer training and incentives, especially for high need areas or hard to fill positions. And we're starting to get other people involved. So who do we need to include to determine feasibility? So district and site leadership. And what additional questions or information do we need? What are the financial and staffing implications in partnering with Kelly Services? How might the use of an external agency impact our ability to honor personal relationships and placement preferences?
And you're going to see some of those, I hope I'm clicking the right thing. You're going to see those questions continue throughout the areas of concern. They're kind of our guiding questions. I will say that we had an opportunity to welcome Kelly Services to present to our task force as well. So you're going to find that some of the things that they're able to offer us do meet some of these concern needs. Area of concern number two, which is that limited subpool, buildings undercovered. The first area of concern and this one do work together. They overlap some. So you'll see the strategy in this area is we want to increase our external subpool. As we noted before, we do have outages that are not covered. And so there is a strategy of if we can increase the external subpool, we might be able to cover more absences, reduce our internal sub coverage. Strategies in this area that were referenced by the task force was increasing sub pay by seniority. We're really fortunate, it's a very diverse task force, so we have some of our very own substitute teachers that attend these meetings regularly, so we were able to kind of solicit some of their voices. Increase external pay for to entice market additional external subs. Increased pay potentially for high need days or high need settings. So potentially settings or specific times in the year that we might be more undercovered than others.
All right, so Kelly Services will address this area by using, they already have incentive pay, recognition programs, targeted advertising, and improved preparation and training for our sub staff. We're going to include district leadership in it. And some questions we need more information on are how does the current Kelly Services model differ from our prior experience with Teachers on Call? What are the cost benefit considerations of using Kelly Services versus developing our own internal solutions? And what has been the experience of other districts using Kelly Services?
All right, area of concern number 3, substitutes feel undervalued, underprepared. This strategy truly is focusing on providing district and site resources to prepare our substitutes. Some suggestions through our, I'm just calling it homework because so I know we're in a school setting. Some of the suggestions based on the homework that our task force completed was potentially having a district sub-plan template, so there's continuity and consistency. Having some resources that are given by the site to our subs when they visit us. For instance, maybe a site behavior discipline plan, 1-pager, potentially an elementary/secondary tech help sheet. Substitute appreciation, some ideas under that were substitutes get free school lunch. Or there's a standard protocol where the neighbor teacher next door checks in on that substitute teacher, or other staff check in. Then other suggestions to the strategy were training for programming. For example, potentially substitutes would have an opportunity to have an overview just briefly regarding like some of maybe the elementary, my math curriculum or benchmark advanced curriculum, so that when they come into a classroom impromptu, there is some familiarity with some of those resources.
All right, and Kelly Services will address this area by using incentive pay, recognition programs, kind of the same with our last one, targeted advertising and improved preparation and training for our sub-staff. We need to include district leadership, site leadership teams, and substitute teachers. And some additional questions and information we need is there a need for a working group to create a district sub-plan template? How do we ensure site-level information is available in a concise 1-page format? Who would provide training on district curriculum resources? And when would that training be offered to substitutes? And how will we measure whether substitutes do feel prepared, supported, and valued?
Next steps. Roll back right in.
We're gonna, obviously there's more work to do, and there's a lot of questions about like how do we figure out if an outside service is feasible. There's still work to be done, and really the goal of the task force is to identify what those problems are and then come to the school board with possible solutions, because you guys get to make a decision on what we do. So we're continuing to meet monthly and work together for some sort of recommendation for the school board by June. In summary, the staffing challenges that we have to address are really important, and it's something that's been really great work because we know it's impactful again for our staff, for our students, and we want to see if there's a way that we can work together to make things better. We want consistency across sites, the experience of substitutes to be a positive one. If they have a positive experience, they'll continue to return. And the potential partnerships and solutions hope to balance efficiency, relationship building, and ensure that, again, those substitutes feel prepared and valued, and we develop systems internally as well that we can sustain and support staff, support students, and follow the priorities of the district.
Questions?
Thanks, Dean, for putting this together. As a former Kelly Services substitute teacher in Bemidji, Minnesota, almost 20 years ago,
Nice.
I can say,
where have you been?
I can say,
Pay for after the football Super Bowl.
it's been a while, but I would say that my experience as a substitute on that side was excellent. The technology, now looking back, was far more advanced to like get a job as a substitute through their online system, and that was 20 years ago, so I have to imagine it's evolved and hopefully gotten better, but it was good then. It was really easy to see what school I was going to, how much the pay was going to be, do you want to accept the job, yes, no. I'd get a phone call that morning at 5:30 in the morning, accept the job, yes, no, click 1, 2, whatever it was. You show up on time, it tells you exactly where to go. So on that side, it was very positive. Now I can't speak for the last 20 years, if anything's improved, gotten worse. But at that time, I was very impressed with how that worked. So.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Like one thing too that came out of it was we don't have a ton of familiarity with Kelly Services and how it works, and we want to make sure, like, if we're going to make an investment, is it going to get the desired result. So that was, that's important to hear, your feedback.
There was a Kelly Service representative at the State School Board Association meeting in January. She was a brother to one of the Minnesota School Board Association people that worked through phase 3 with us. And he spoke glowingly. I guess my question is, where are the pool of teachers that they draw from for a place like Blooming Prairie or Austin or Chatfield, or not Chatfield so much, but this is kind of an area that probably has some special needs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and those questions were asked, and I don't know that in the short amount of time that we had with them, that they're able to give like some really specifics about their recruitment tools or how they work. That they're making some, based on their data and past practices and experiences, that they're able to, have fill rates of above 90%.
And they do devote a person who is local to the area to market and solicit, more individuals. So I mean, I do think they did speak to having someone local devoted to supporting these efforts. Whether it be truly increasing, I think you're right, they said increasing to 90% coverage.
How do they reach those people when we, I say we, Autumn Public Schools can't?
Yeah.
That's a great question. I think that's something that we have to continue to explore more before we would make any sort of recommendation. I don't know the specifics yet. We would have to ask, how do they do it? Because they were adamant, like, we're gonna get you those 80-90% fill rates. When we have days when we're looking at 60% fill rates. So
that's a message I heard up there.
Yeah.
Well, and I can add to that just a little bit. So they do a lot more advertising than what we do. And the other thing that they do is they go to other school districts around here that use Kelly Services already. And they ask the subs from there, would you like to also sub for Austin? So if they're not subbing in, say, Southland for the day, and they want to sub, that's just a hop, skip, and a jump over here. And then they can also sub for us. So they offer that up to the districts around here that also use Kelly Services.
And they did speak to other attributes like incentive. Like they mentioned that, today would be a very difficult day usually to fill, or because it's following the Super Bowl. And so they would then include or market certain incentives. They also spoke about training and making sure that people feel very prepared. I mean, we do have certain positions in the district that do require some training to make sure that they're ready to serve the students within that setting. And so they did talk a little bit about that. They also talked a little bit about gathering information about our current sub-pool, as well as obviously onboarding new substitute teachers regarding their preferences. Because we have, again, some substitute teachers that are members on our task force that have been committed, dedicated substitute teachers in our district for quite some time. And so it's nice to hear that they're definitely valuing those individuals and wanting to make sure they know how frequently do you want to work, where do you want to work, so that they have that information so they can be strategic too. So they did offer a lot of they were hitting quite a few of the concern areas that the task force has come up with. But again, you can see there's still a lot of questions. I mean, we're just kind of gathering all this information, thinking it through, and then, really the next stage is looking for those answers to some of those questions so that when we come back in June, do we come back in June or we come back sooner than June? June, I think, is the next time we come back to with the recommendation, so that hopefully we're going to be able to provide you, some of that information so you feel good about a potential recommendation, if that be the case. But we still have some work to do. You said we're almost to the end of the year. We got a lot left. Don't go too quick. We got a lot to get through. But yeah, it's been really cool to gather all the different perspectives. It's a diverse group of staff, and so it's been fun to kind of get that information and work through it, and really try to put some things in place that are going to elevate this area in our district. Very important area, needed.
Can I ask a question? Oh, it was just right there. Outside of Kelly Services and that's a potential solution, what, if anything, have you been able to maybe anecdotally or informally implement any adjustments, changes internally to try to get some of the benefit of the work that you are doing now for our subs and for our staff who are definitely feeling stretched?
I can speak specifically for Southgate only at this time since we don't really have a district process yet, but something like a sub-plan template or some of the documents that are really important for subs to have when they walk in the door, we started working on already. So at the start of the school year, at some of our back to school time, we actually set aside time for teams to work to create a sub-plan template that works for their grade, and then what we call emergency sub-plans, right? Because sometimes we know we're going to be gone a few days in advance and we can put together some sub-plans. Sometimes we wake up at 7 in the morning and we're sick and we're not coming in. We don't have time to go in and create a sub-plan. So the idea was that working together, there was some sort of a template that we could use and that there were plans that were ready in those two scenarios at the very least. So already some things like some nuggets that we can take right now and start to use in our work. Hopefully with maybe some more broader consistency as we move forward into the future.
In addition, I know that certain things have flushed through the group too, and things that we've implemented at Sumner that have paid off for us is, every single guest teacher that comes to our building gets a bottle of water, a thank you, and a little chocolate. We have our team at Sumner. I think everyone contributes to making sure it's a very welcoming environment. Typically when I speak to subs, which my goal is to connect with them at least once, they're telling me about how friendly the staff are there, everyone's trying to help. Those are things that come up quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie, Area 1 is a tough one. There's times where I'm in the morning calling the available subs to see if I can find anyone to come in and cover absences, or our school secretary has got certain people on speed dial text. So we do try to solicit more people to come in, and encourage. Sometimes a personal phone call helps. So we've been able to cover some of those absences in that way. But those are things, again, that I think we are doing kind of site by site, case by case. Whereas I think we're hearing, some more unification would be helpful.
Like what Jill's describing is something she does on her own. It's outside of our.
Not on my own.
Well, right, but
The team,
it's outside of the system of tools that we have, as part of the system. And so we want to broaden that system, get more people involved, and have ways to make it more efficient and fill more spots. That's what we want.
What is Area 1?
Area 1 is reducing internal, so we all have, and this is consistent, an internal sub-coverage rotation, which typically includes interventionists, EL teachers, school counselor, behavior interventionists, instructional coaches. I mean, it's a rotation. And we want to do our very best to limit pulling them. For many of them, they're losing student instruction, and we have to pull them. So I sometimes call it the armpit of our system, in a loving way, but we try to limit that. And we all track it at our buildings. So I mean, like right now, I can tell you right now, we have 2 days or less of individuals needing to be pulled to cover internally. And we're trying to do our very best to keep that number low so students get the instruction they need. So that is, and I should say, it's not only just when a teacher's gone for the day, it could be an IEP meeting. I mean, there are other instances, it could be someone who needs to leave for a doctor's appointment for an hour. I mean, there are situations like that that come up. What's been really helpful too is the district now, you can get paid by hour versus like it had to be a half day. So that's been helpful because we have gained some subs for only just an hour or two. So those are things that we're, just really ground level that occur that we're trying to reduce on some of those concerns.
Do you think, maybe you haven't got this far enough yet, but would Kelly Services also be able to do it by the hour if you got that far?
I think that's part of the collaboration, that if that were something that the district and Kelly Services,
right, those little nuance things are working,
flush
but
out. Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Can Can I ask a question about the area of concern number 3, where it says substitutes feel undervalued or underprepared? And then on strategy, it's got site behavior discipline plan. Have the substitute teachers, have they voiced that there's like more behavior issues when they're a substitute versus when the regular teacher is in the room?
I think we've gotten some of that, and I think that's, I mean, when I was teaching, I had a sub, it probably wasn't gonna go as well as if I were there. Students are used to your routines, your process. I think more what that's about is like, each building has a slightly different response plan if there's a student behavior. Each building has a behavior flow chart about what's a classroom managed behavior, what's an office managed behavior. And so sometimes that can be, if the sub is working at Banfield one day and IJ the next and the high school the next, those can be very different systems. And so are there ways for us to continue to be more consistent or more similar so that that's just one other thing a sub doesn't have to worry about or think about? It's like, hey, I'm subbing at Austin Public Schools, here's what I do if I have an issue.
Alright, does anybody else have questions? Do you have more questions? Thank you all for your updates. That's huge.
Alright, we're just gonna jump right in. We're just gonna brevity, get this done.
On it. I'm gonna introduce your team though.
Okay, yes.
Blake Henley, Rebecca Gio. Student attendance.
Yes.
Go.
Yes, so before we get started with just where we've been, I just really want to take a moment to thank my partners here and our committee and specifically the school board. We're going into root cause and not quick fixes with this, and so we really appreciate the patience, the fortitude of our committee members, and we were thinking this morning just about the strengths that everybody on our committee brings and how those conversations have really opened up to some really great possible recommendations as we move into the spring and summer. So just as a reminder, with our guided change, and this started last spring, is that how can we as a district strengthen support systems and partnerships to increase student attendance in ways that is equitable, sustainable, and student-centered.
Right, I also want to say thank you too for this opportunity to be able to work with these two wonderful people and just really learn a lot. Myself and Amanda Lee were kind of part of both, just to really learn more about the big system. So really, when we started our attendance, this was the main piece that we looked at. Is we had 5 different groups. We really dove into each separate group: infrastructure that supports improvement, family and community engagement, multi-layered practices and support, assessment, and data-based decision-making. So really, as our groups met every month, we really dove into each one of these different sections and decided, what do we have now that we're doing good at? What are some things that need some adjustment, and what are some things that we really need to prioritize as a district to try to help this, and also understand that this is more than just a school system that needs to be fixed. As we asked our group members on our last meeting, we asked for some themes from the group. So we really tried to come up with just some major themes from each of the 5 areas that we could really focus on as part of our attendance committee. So we wanted to make sure that we're ensuring consistent attendance policies and messages from pre-K all the way to senior year to really promote just clarity for our families. We have a lot of families that have multiple students in different schools, so just really trying to help on that front. Just making really positive learning conditions, just making sure our classrooms are engaging and students want to be there in class. Family and community engagement is just really making sure that our communication with everybody is going both ways. We have to make sure we're getting parents involved with student attendance and that we have shared responsibilities. Cultural awareness and equity, and policies should be inclusive and sensitive to our diverse needs in this district, and I think we are really showing that recently too.
And lastly, is just collaborating with all our partners here in Austin and all our nonprofits. It just helps students as we face different attendance issues and how we can better help at the Austin Public School level.
Okay, so the last part of it is taking the themes and the work that the group has done over the past several months and coming up with these developing the recommendations. And so it broke out into these 5 groups. And so what we had done over the past several months was break our groups up into these 5 areas that were comprised of members from all over the community and the school district as well. So we had a good voice at each group. And so we broke it out into the infrastructure, family and community engagement, the multi-layered practices and support, assessment, and then database decision making. And then each of these groups came through and what were their action steps? Where did they want to focus on creating consistency across the district at each of the levels in these areas? So you can see the infrastructure of an attendance team, embedding attendance into the school improvement plan, PD offered to the staff of what that looks like. With the family engagement, the positive communication campaign, host attendance cafes and listening sessions, building partnerships with the community organizations. And that was a big one that as we dove into the research and of what other communities have done, is really finding and how we can leverage that community partnership. As we talk to multi-layered practices, what are the tier 1 universal strategies that every student gets? But then also, what are those additional supports that you get if you're struggling with attendance for the tier 2 and tier 3? Then the assessment, add the chronic absence to our universal screen that we have, monitor the progress, and then review the attendance regularly. And then with the data decision making, create an accessible dashboard, analyze the patterns bi-weekly, and then use the data to allocate resources accordingly to support the kids that need it. So we have one more meeting in March where we'll go through kind of the final look over if there's things that we missed, if there's other suggestions that come up, before we look to bring it back to this group at the end of the year. So any questions for either of those teams?
Like it says, create an attendance team. Are you talking by building or reps from each building to do some of this work?
I think both. And I can't speak for other buildings, but I can say at Banfield we have an attendance team that meets bi-weekly, and then have certain individuals on it. And one thing that came out through this process is hearing how I think each building has some form of reviewing attendance, but sometimes the teachers don't even know what's going on behind the scenes. And so part of it is having this plan, but also then communicating that out so that they know what is going on with it.
Yeah, both on this slide, Blake, and the previous slide, you talk about building partnerships in the community and with nonprofits. Can you just describe for us one possible partnership with a nonprofit or a community organization that would help benefit attendance in Austin Public Schools?
Yeah, I think we talked a lot about what the Austin Aspires, right?
So we actually have Austin Aspires that's part of our team. And we have Varin, who helps with that community engagement. We also talked about maybe working with our employers to kind of help them understand the importance of attendance at school, probation, continuing that messaging too. And I think too, foundationally, we take all this work from the Compass Guidebook, which is MDE supported, and so it's been helpful to have that guidebook really driving some of that work. But as we continue to learn that attendance is an ecological concern, which means it's not just a school problem, it really impacts our community, so we're going to try to find ways to bring them into that conversation.
Anybody else? Great. Thank you, Blake, Jess, and for coming and sharing about the attendance work task force. Thank you, all of you, for all of your work. Please convey our gratitude to both task forces and all the people who have volunteered their time and energy. All right. Next, we've got our approval for our donations with Executive Director of Finance and Operations, Tom Burke.
Good evening. It is my honor to be in front of you tonight
To read off the donations, we have reviewed these and they meet School Board Policy 706. So I will read them off now. Recharge America, $5,000, AHS Robotics. Austin Morning Lions, $500, AHS Robotics. Fraternal Order of Eagles, $1,500, AHS Robotics. Crystal Valley, $500, FFA Program. Early Risers Kiwanis, $250, AHS Adaptive Bowling. American Legion Post 91, $500, AHS Adaptive Bowling. Fraternal Order of Eagles, $2,000, AHS Adaptive Bowling. Freeborn Mauer Electric Cooperative, $400, AHS Boys Golf. Hormel Historic Home, $300, Austin Airs. Austin VFW, $150, IJ Lisa Lage Room. The Next Chapter, Sarah Sales, multilingual books for families valued at $300, classrooms throughout the district. Joseph Hoopman through Give Minnesota, $30.47 for the district. Again, we'd like to thank all these organizations and individuals.
All right, can I get a motion to approve this month's donations? Motion by Carol. Second by Dan, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes, thank you. Sharon, are there any delegations tonight? This is a reminder of our school board study session, which is scheduled for Monday, February 23rd at 4 p.m. in the district office conference room. Can I get a motion to adjourn? All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, everybody, for your attention.